Real quick before you start the show, I got to say something. Be careful how you treat people, all right? Because you never know when it's going to come back around. The other day, I was watching this interview. It was Young Jock talking about how T-Pain came up with the song Buy You a Drink. So long story how the story go is they were in Dallas. T-Pain's a big fan of Little Flip. Little Flip came in. He was excited to meet Little Flip. He said something like, put her there, pal, or something like that. Just jokingly. You know how T-Pain is. And apparently, Little Flip, just looked at him and just walked off. Just left him hanging. And apparently, Jock said that really hurt T-Pain. And T-Pain's like, come on. And so Jock bought T-Pain, like, come to the bar. I got drinks on me. I buy y'all drinks. So T-Pain already recorded the song Buy You a Drink. He already had another rapper on it. He's like, Jock, I need you to come to the studio. I need you to come to the studio. And finally, Jock came to the studio. He's like, yo, T-Pain's here waiting. He said he won't leave till you get here. So he's like, yo, Jock, you're the only person that really ever bought me a drink. I want you to be on this song. And that's how Buy You a Drink came about. So because he treated someone nice and with kindness, probably came one of Young Jock's biggest songs ever. And he's still making money off that song. So moral of the story, be careful how you treat people, all right?
And don't be a little flip.
Don't be a little flip.
Making enemies.
Don't be a
Man, bro, he's...
Oh, my God.
I mean, he's got one of the greatest songs, but, man, there's a lot of people that don't mess with him.
Yeah. So, I mean...
So, it is what it is.
It is, this is the new edition of Ray Ray's Podcast. Thank y'all for rocking with us. Thank you for continue to subscribe, YouTube, RayRaysPodcast.com. Go to all those things. Make sure you're tapped into Ray Ray's Podcast at all time. We got a special co-host in the building today. The man you've seen him. His episode just came out a couple weeks ago. Miggy is back in the building. What's up, Miggy?
How's it going, everybody? Good to be back.
You good? Hey, welcome back. Appreciate you being a special co-host.
I appreciate you guys.
And
any day, any time, man. My schedule's open now. Now that I'm an entrepreneur, I can ask off if I want to.
All right, you got to go with the boss, right?
Oh yeah,
100%. So he's later on. He's here shortly. He's gonna introduce today's guest, which we're gonna have an amazing guest in the building today. Shout out to our man Perryon. He's out doing big things in the world right now. So follow him on Instagram, p.mans_ on Instagram. Shout out Extreme Travel for sponsoring Ray Ray's Podcast. Elite Pro Power Washing, thank you for your contributions to Ray Ray's Podcast. We really appreciate y'all. Couldn't do this without y'all, all right? So this is the time of the show where we reset people's week, reset people's day. If you had a rough day or, you just want to restart your day. You just want to start it all over. You do Control-Alt-Delete and redo this. We're going to say some positive words, get the positive words out there, and let's do this, all right? Like I said, black people, we got to have music for everything. So give me 1 second. Let me get the music queued up. All right, here we go. All right. Y'all ready? Rock, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Mickey, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. In case no one told you today, you're beautiful, you're loved,
Facts.
you're needed, you're alive for a reason. Hey, you're stronger than you think.
Come on.
You're going to get through this. And we're all glad you're alive. And don't give up, man. So just when you say positive words, you train your mind to say positive words, it's just going to go autopilot when bad things come. But you know what? I'm going to get through this. I'm going to make it. Anything is possible. So just stay positive at all times, man. Even when things, look rough. Michael B. Jordan, bro. Don't worry about her. Don't sweat her. You know what I'm saying? Things will get better. I want you to go ahead and introduce today's amazing guest we got today, man.
Yeah, man. So this has been my closest friend for 7 years now, since 2015 when we first met, over tacos and Bel Air champagne, which is the weirdest combination, at an after-hours spot. And ever since then, we hit it off. And Mr. Hennessy himself, Mr. @Big Rome. Ladies, if you want to find out what the big means in Rome, be sure to message him. That's been a really good friend. I don't know if you guys know this, but today is June 8th, and it's National Best Friends Day, so that actually goes hand in hand. So now, no further ado, my boy, Rome.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What up,
Thank
man?
you for having me. Ray, Mig.
Eater.
Happy to be here, man. It's been a long time coming.
I've
been putting off all these interviews and all of these podcast invites and all that stuff, man. So I'm finally ready to talk my shit,
Talk your
So
shit.
So yeah, let's do it.
Before you move on, I gotta figure out how did this. You said tacos and Bel Air. How did it happen? You just like walk up to them like, yo, I see you got some tacos. I got some Bel Air. Let's
There was a.
explain the story here.
It was okay. Now this is 2015. Okay, so my wife's listening. 2015, right? So this is before you. I was linking. So this is still when I was new to the scene, where I didn't, we talked about it already. Like I didn't know that many people. You helped me introduce me to a lot, and I was just talking to this girl that I was trying to pursue at the time. Long story short, we ended up becoming good friends for quite some time, but she ended up inviting me because Rome invited her to go to an after hour spot. But I was just like, I was new to the city, so I was like, I'll go anywhere, whatever. And then it ended up being one of our mutual friends that, he introduced me to. It was his shout out Hector. It was El Pulpo in Arlington, right?
In Grand Prairie, yeah.
Grand Prairie, sorry. So we ended up going there, and then I was like, yo, like she didn't really tell me the reason why we're going. She's like, let's just go to this after hour spot or whatever. And so we ended up going there, and then first impression, Roman introduces very, very proper handshake, eye communication, and this is super friendly. He's like, yo, you guys are hungry? And I was like, oh, hey, like you guys want to drink some champagne? We'll get it, and then just popped off from there, man. It's just first impressions are really important to me, and he's always held up to that standard when not only just meeting like specific people, but anybody. If anybody's willing to talk to him, he'll give that positive, that good energy back, So he reciprocates it really well.
That's dope. That's dope, man. Again, thank you. We appreciate you for pulling up. Like I said, we've been talking about this for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause everything had to get aligned. God's timing is
Yeah.
wrong. So I mean, hey, it was your
That's
time.
correct.
So,
Amen.
man, I appreciate you pulling it up. All right.
I must say that definitely. I'm kind of jealous you got a very good first impression from Mr. Rum. I think me, my working the front door days.
You don't have a good impression of nobody being a door guy.
I didn't mean
Nobody likes you.
No. It was. I think this is how I met Mr. Rome, right? So whenever we were working the front door, and then he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm with Hennessy, blah blah blah," and then I see a lot of people that say they with somebody, so I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But I actually had met you way before that though, Ray. To be honest,
You're a doorman.
we.
Oh, shit.
I met you before the whole Hennessy thing started. I met you whenever I first started in the liquor industry. I was just a liquor rep, and that's when I had met you. I think it was at what was that that multiple level club?
Purgatory?
Well, Purgatory
Not
was-
Purgatory,
it
the
was-
other one.
It was Skybar.
Skybar, yeah,
Skybar?
Skybar. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at Skybar. A long time ago when Skybar was Skybar or whatever.
Yeah.
Was I an asshole or jerk then?
No. I mean, you just did your thing, But it was one of those things where it's like, I'm gonna be coming here a lot, so
Yeah.
let's get familiar, and all that stuff. But yeah, and then as it went on, obviously like a lot of people started like really recognizing me because it's just like, oh, like you really are here all the fucking time. But it was all part of the job and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and I'd say this. One of the reasons why I wanted to stop doing security is because I always hated being that asshole. Like I had to be that guy. I had to be stern. I had to be that guy that's at the front door. Like, no, I don't care who you are.
yeah.
So and there was a couple of times when me and Rome was like, hey man, I don't care who you are, man. Like get banned, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and so, but I mean, we're cool.
And I was out there like on the phone, like,
that was him.
It's cool.
And we've had some
come get me,
Karen mode.
Yeah.
Activated.
come get me.
But I appreciate you at least doing that. At least some people would go out of their way and just
Yeah.
get a scene and stuff. At least you step to the side and be like, all right, man, cool, I got you. And then you
Yeah.
step to the side and you got me. And I was like, oh shit. Well, but
That's the thing too, though, man. Like you you have to let people do their job. You know what I mean? Because people let me do mine, so you gotta like reciprocate that back too. Like people are just doing their job, man. Like, and yeah, and like some people might rub you the wrong way just because the way that they do their job, it might not like go with what you're doing or whatever. But I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's just that's just who they are and stuff like that too. So I always try to project that mutualness, right? Of like, all right, like you do your job and let me do mine, and then all right, cool, like just get me taken care of and like
Yeah.
and all that good stuff. So
And that's where you got to know when to fight your battles.
Yeah,
Not
for
every
sure.
battle shouldn't be fought. Like hey, every time, because there'll be people all the time that give you a hard time. Or you're gonna fucking cause a scene and fight a battle for some shit that's over petty. Like no, it's cool. I know who I am. They know I'm important. They gonna come get me. So I'm gonna step to this side.
yeah,
It's all taken care of. All right, cool. So for everyone that watches the show, we got this little segment. It's called. Here we go.
Slow down, I just wanna get to know you.
Slow down. We just want to get to know you. This is where we just ask you some questions, just kind of feel you out. You know, so people can just kind of get to know your personality. You know,
Okay.
We don't know where we're gonna go. We're just gonna go. All right.
Let's do it.
So let's start this
I'm
off
game.
with this. Again, tell the people who you are, what it is that you do, and where they can find you on social media.
You know, so I go by Roman Abner, which is, everybody thinks that's my last name, but it's really my middle name. My last name, I like use that in the military, so it's like another identity thing for me. And so, and the reason why I go with my middle name now is because, like, growing up, I hated it. I hated my middle name, and my mom obviously named me, and she really loved that name. And now that she's not here, I'm like, all right, like I want to like embrace it, you know, and all that good stuff. So yeah, I go by Roman Abner. My last name is Malvais. Yeah, try not to kill yourself trying to pronounce that. But yeah, on Facebook you can find me under Roman Abner. Probably won't add you if I don't know you. But Instagram, you can find me Big Rome at BIG_RROME. It's public. It's open to everybody. So like, if you want to give me a follow or whatever, kind of see what I'm doing and all that good stuff. I'm big on lifestyle. I'm big on travel, and I'm big on fashion and all of that good stuff.
I know. Look at these pictures here. Look at this.
Man, as a model, bro.
I'm on TV.
I'm everywhere,
The
man.
camera can see him on TV. Like this. Bam.
Man, top
I like
model
to do a little bit of everything, you know, and kind of just experience everything at least once, you know.
Yeah.
and all
Look
that
at
good
this.
stuff.
Look at this right here.
So suave.
Man, y'all gassing me up. I'm gonna let y'all
Bro,
know.
this is a damn cologne commercial. Right? Jesus.
But shout out to MMJ. You know, I'm always rocking that.
Yes, sir.
Rocking my friend's stuff, man. And I was born in San Antonio. I was raised in Arlington pretty much my entire life. After high school, I joined the Marine Corps. I left right after high school, joined the Marine Corps in 2007. Like, I joined, and then 9 months later, I was already in Iraq. So it was a quick transition from like, all right, like you're a kid and like, or you're a young man, and now you're in this completely different environment. I joined the military right after high school. I got to travel the world. I got to serve my country. And I got out after about 5 years, and then I went to college. I came back home to Arlington. I went to UTA, and I graduated there with 2 degrees and a minor as well. And then I started making up for lost time. I hit the party scene, and I hit it pretty hard. I felt like I was already behind everybody.
Yeah.
So while everybody was like, you know, living their best life throughout those years, I felt like I was already behind, like 4 or 5 years. So I hit the party scene pretty heavy, man. I would say probably about 1.5 years, like 2 years, I was like really outside, like all the fucking time. And it was cool though, because I needed that. I was able to build my network. I met Ray. I met Miggy shortly after that. I met a lot of cool people. I met a lot of movers and shakers in the city, a lot of club owners, a lot of restaurant owners, a lot of promoters, a lot of influencers, when an influencer wasn't even a thing back then, you know, and all of that stuff. But like, and so I'm a big believer in that, and like it's cool. Like, yeah, you can have that image on social media, but like, I really know people, you know what I mean? Like, I really know people. I really touch the city. Like, I really go out there and like, I really try to meet people face to face, because you can never devalue that. And so I took that, and then you know, I was given an opportunity to start my own marketing and promotions company with my business partner, which is still a really good friend of mine. Shout out to David and shout out to Angel, the Navarro twins. Went into business with them, and then I've been doing marketing and promotions pretty much ever since, going on like 10 years now. So that's kind of where.
So you
That's like the short little version of it, right? I'm sure we're gonna dive deeper into it.
That's
and
the
you guys
Spark
have some more
Notes version,
questions.
right?
Yeah.
So, quick question. You're closer to our age?
I'm 33 years old.
Damn, that's a lot. Born in your 20s. Okay, so you went to Iraq. Okay. So
I've done a lot, bro.
You don't know.
Jesus Christ, man.
You
Yeah,
live
I've done a
life.
lot,
You
man.
don't live life.
Yeah, I see, man.
I've done a lot, like, so it's and people are always like shocked. They're like, "What? You're 33?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm about to be 34 actually." But yeah, I'm getting up there, man, and like, thank God for these genes, you know. Like, I always get like, "Hey, like you look like 25, 26." I was like, "I'll take it, man. I'll take it for as long as I can, you know." So, but yeah, no, I've been literally around the world and back, man. So definitely have a lot of gained a lot of wisdom throughout that time and throughout my life too. So
Okay, so you told us, you graduated school, went to the military, came back, went to UTA, got 2 degrees and got a minor. You had your promotional company. So let's start from there. Okay, after you did your promotional company, is that when you got into Hennessy, or were you somewhere else before that?
there's just so many tidbits that are missing. I think we really have to start like after high school. I joined the Marine Corps off of just faith, basically, just being at the wrong place at the right time. Going back to what I said at the opening, right, where like I've always ended up where I'm supposed to be. One of my best friends too, shout out to Carlos, which is Hector's older brother. We were in high school. It was my senior year, and like I was giving him a ride to speak to the recruiter. I had no idea what the Marine Corps was. I was very like dumbfounded by it, right? Like I had no idea what the Marine Corps was or what they did, how it existed, none of that. I knew nothing. I gave him a ride to the recruiter's office, and he's like, "Hey man, get off with me and wait for me at the little waiting lounge or whatever." They were gonna interview him and stuff. And then one of the recruiters comes and starts talking to me, and he's like, "Hey man, like, what's your name and all this?" And I tell him, and he's like, "What, like, are you a senior in high school?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a senior." He's like, "What are you doing after high school? Like, once you graduate?" I was like, I don't know. I was like, I work 2 jobs already, like, and I go to high school, like, I'm getting ready to graduate. I was like, I have no idea. He's like, "Come on, man, let me talk to you for a little bit." And so if you've ever sat in a recruiter's office, like, they really like try to sell you on some shit, right? And especially during wartime. This was in 2007, so we're still at war. They needed to hit their quotas. They needed more people, and all that good stuff. So he laid out like this little container of like bricks, or like little bricks, right, little blocks, and they all had like different things written on them. And he's like, "Hey man, like, pick 3 things that are important to you on this thing, right?" One of them was like financial security. The other one was like education, and I think the third one that I picked was travel. And so he starts breaking them down to me, right? He's like, "Oh, like," he's like, if you join the Marine Corps, he's like, we'll pay you on the 1st and the 15th, like the entire time that you're in." He's like, "How does that sound?" I was like, "Well, yeah, it sounds pretty fucking good to me." And he's like, not only that, but he's like, you're always gonna have somewhere to sleep. You're always gonna have food to eat. If you enlist, he's like, we'll take care of your school. To me, I like the idea of college, but I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this shit.
Yeah.
And so whenever they told me that, like, "Oh yeah, like, we'll pay for your college, like, you don't have to worry about anything, blah blah blah." Something in the back of my head was like, all right, like, that sounds very simplistic. I know I'm gonna have to like work at this shit, right? And so then the last one was travel. He's like, "I guarantee you," he's like, "you're gonna go to like different countries, and like you're gonna be all over the place." He's like, "That's just how we operate in the Marine Corps." I was like, "Okay, cool, man." Like, I just took it all with a grain of salt, and like I left. I went home and I told my mom, I was like, "Hey, like, what do you think about this?" And she immediately was like, "No,
Yeah.
absolutely not."
Any mom is.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
like, "Absolutely not." She's like, "There's no way." I was like, "All right, cool." So I left it alone, whatever, right? So this happened like in February or so, January, February, and then like late March, early April, like a month before graduation, like I see the Marines walking through the halls of the high school, and everyone was just like in awe. Like, everyone would just like literally stopped, and it felt like slow motion, like, like in those movies when there's just like people are just walking real fucking swagger and all that. And because I even stopped, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, they're in their uniform and shit, and like they were just like some bosses, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, "Oh," like I was like, "That's fucking dope." Like, I want to be like these guys. And I dead ass like called him like the next day, and I was just like, "Hey, like, I'm ready to go. Like, let's do it." Like, he's like, "All right, man." He's like, "I need you to come and take a test." Took a test, passed it, all that. And I graduated, and then like 3 weeks after I graduated, I was gone. I was already in boot camp.
What did you do while you were in the Marines?
I did 3 combat tours. So I went to Iraq first, and then right after that I went to Afghanistan, and then right after Afghanistan I went to Pakistan. So I deployed 3 times, like back to back to back. I did all those 3 deployments or whatever, and then in between those, we did a lot of like humanitarian stuff. So my first duty station was Okinawa, Japan, and so I was stationed there for 2 years. But I was really only on the island for probably like 6 months out of those 2 years. I was like all over the place, man. I went to Australia, I went to the Philippines, I went to Thailand, I went to Cambodia, to Korea, went all over Asia pretty much. And then from there I went to Iraq. And then I got back from Iraq, and then they gave me orders to California. I got to California, and then a month later they sent me to Afghanistan. And then while I was in Afghanistan, they're like, hey, we want you to go to Pakistan too. And so we went there, and it was very like surreal, like doing all those deployments. Like the very first one, I was like fucking scared. If something happens to me, like I want somebody to know that I was here and like I did something.
Yeah.
So I kept a diary. Like the first deployment, I kept a diary like a little fucking schoolgirl and shit, right? But I kept the diary, man, and I tried to write in there as much as I could. I tried to write in there every single day, and it was hard though because like like we're fucking moving around, we're getting shot at, we're getting blown up and shit. But I kept a diary. I still have it, and it was one of those things where like after doing the first deployment, you're kind of like, I kind of like doing this shit. Like this is actually kind of fun. Like I'm living like my little high school or like my childhood like
Dream.
action hero life right now and shit. And so whenever they told me I was going to Afghanistan, I kind of like was not scared anymore. It was just one of those things. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm going to work. And then while I was in Afghanistan, they were like, hey, like we want you to go to Pakistan because like we have like some intel. They're like, you have a security clearance. Like we need you to be a part of this fucking this convoy that's gonna like go and I can speak about it now because it's so long,
Yeah.
right?
Don't get a shot.
But
over
before,
here.
like, I wasn't able to talk about it. But basically, like, we were the first ones to go into Pakistan, and like we were probably like 20 to 30 clicks outside of Islamabad, where Osama bin Laden was found, where his compound was and shit. So we fucked up Islamabad, that whole village. We just fucking obliterated it. This was I kid you not, this was in February of 2011. And they killed, SEAL Team 6 killed Osama bin Laden in 2011 in May, like late May. And I had just gotten out. And so I was just like, okay, cool. Like I did my part, like it was cool. Like I'm out now, like I'm in college and shit. I remember hearing like the news, like they killed him and then like they showed the compound and all that shit and where we were. And I was like, oh, okay.
I was there.
I was there. I was close to there. Cool. And yeah, like I got like pictures and videos and shit of like the actual mission and stuff. Cause I had like one of those like portable cameras.
Yeah.
But like it was like those digital ones, right? But like the very first ones that came out and shit. So the pictures like they're a little distorted and shit like that. But like I have like videos of like the artillery just hitting and us going in and like it would be cool if we had like GoPros and shit like we do now.
Yeah.
To like really have some cool footage. But yeah, man, it was the military was like a completely like just a different life. Like it almost feels like I lived like a different life when I was in the military because it was so long ago. And now what I'm doing now is just like, oh, okay, like it's almost like it's just like two different lives. So that's why like I kind of like tend to keep those separate. But yeah, man, like that was cool because like it really like opened up like who I am now.
Yeah.
Cause like who I was in high school, like I was a little nerd, man. I was a little nerd. I was shy. I was quiet. I've always had the same group of friends, cause we've known each other since we were kids.
Yeah.
But even then, like when I came back, they were like, "Oh, like, damn, like you're just like a different person now. Like you're just more confident. You walk." I was like, "Yeah," cause I've
Gone through hell.
yeah, like I've been doing like some different shit, man. You know, and so it's just like it. I don't think people change or per se, but I just think they become more of who they're supposed to be.
They evolve.
Like I said
think
earlier,
evolve.
yeah.
All right, you told us you came back, and people said they noticed a change in you. All right, so what happened from then? Okay.
Yeah, man. So I came back and then I went to college. I hit the ground running, man, with school. I wanted to finish as quickly as possible. Again, I felt like I was like completely behind. I felt like all of my friends, all of my close circle, they were graduating college. They were like moving on. They were like opening businesses. They were they were where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I got to catch up, you know? And then, a part of me was also like, all right, man, like you have to go in and have some fun. Like you've been away from home for like almost 5 years. Like go out and have some fun. One thing about the beauty of the military, man, like once you get out, like they really do pay for all of your college. Like I have 0 student loans. I have 0 debt, because of the military. But also that goes without saying, like you're gonna give them the best years of your life, you know what I mean? And like you're gonna go through some shit. I was like, I deserve this, I was like, I'm gonna go out and like and party and have a good time. And I was like, I need to make new friends and stuff. Like because like when I came back, like I felt like I was in a new city. Like Dallas was like completely different at the time, and it's ever changing, And so. Yeah, man. So I was in college. I maxed out on every semester. I was taking classes every single semester, man. Like summer semester, winter semesters. I was like going to school like boom, 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 right? And at the same time, I was like partying. So I was like partying, and then I would fucking go to school and like and do my thing or whatever. And then like what I didn't realize at the time is that I was building my network.
Yeah.
I was building my network during that time. But I labeled it as having fun because I was going out, man, and I was having fun. Like, I was building my network. I was getting to know, like, all these people, and, like, but in that process, I was also spending a lot of money because it takes spending money to have a good time. We're going to drop some bags, man, on having a good time. Like, I've always been like that. I don't care who's at the bar. Like, I'm buying everybody shots or whatever, Like, that's just how I am. Obviously, that draws some attention to you. And so I started meeting a lot of cool people, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of influencers before influencing was even cool, before Instagram was even a thing and all of that. Just like the movers and the shakers, people in the industry, the promoters, the bartenders, cocktail waitresses, like you name it, I was meeting everybody. I was getting to know everybody. And then that's when like Facebook was like popping. So like my shit was like maxed out.
Fresh out of MySpace.
Yeah, so like my shit was like maxed out at 5,000 like quick, bro. And then so I was just like, all right. I got accepted into this program to study abroad. So I went to go study abroad in Spain for like almost like 8 months.
Man, that's nice.
And I got my first degree out there actually. I got a Spanish degree out there, Spanish translation degree. And then I came back to UTA and then I finished my second degree. And then I officially graduated that same year, which was in 2013. 2014, sorry. In 2014. So I finished college in 3 years with 2 degrees and a minor, and I minored in marketing. My other degree is in sociology. After I graduated college, I went to go work with my buddy Joe, he's also one of my mentors. He's like one of those guys that like I used to train with him. We used to train jiu-jitsu and like MMA and stuff. And like we became really good friends, and he's like a lot older than me, so he's like big bro type of thing, and he was very successful, man. He was just one of those guys that was just like, he had a family, he had like a house, he had like the car, like he had everything, and I was just like, man, like he's really successful. I was like, I want to like pick his brain and see like how he got there. And sure enough, like, he went to college and business and all that stuff. He was an athlete, and so anyways, he was an executive at Target. And he was like, hey, man, he's like, I got a job for you at Target if you want to come. He's like, with your military experience and your degree, he's like, I'll hire you, like, no problem. So I went to go work at Target after graduating college, man. I went to go work at Target, and I was the asset protection.
The stories that you told there.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I'm telling you, man, I got stories for days, bro. Like, so I had the store in South Dallas, bro, and you can imagine.
Yeah.
A bunch of crackheads going in there just stealing
Yeah.
some stuff. Man, I used to get in fights with like literal crackheads, bro. Like one time, I went and I got into a scuffle with this one dude.
I remember this one.
He was on acid, bro. And he had like his entire stomach just full of like colognes. Like he had just pocketed them. He had like a little thing, man. And like I was grabbing them and throwing them, and this colognes were flying everywhere and shit. And the cops came, and actually the paramedics came first and whooped his ass. The paramedics came and like helped me wrestle him down. He tried to fight them, and then like they whooped his. I couldn't hit him obviously because I worked for Target and shit. I ain't trying to get sued, but the paramedics were whooping his ass, and they like held him down. And the cops came, and then they whooped his ass, and they put him in handcuffs. And then I was just sitting there writing the report, and he was just like, it was a wake up call. I was like, I was like, man, I was like, not even in the military did I do shit like this. This is like kind of weird, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man. Again, being at the right place at the wrong place at the right time or whatever. The right place at the right time for this instance. But we're at Joe's house because I play a lot of poker. And Joe has a lot of, like, he used to have, like, a lot of house games. He still does every now and then, but
Yeah.
back then we used to play a lot of poker, man, like, probably, like, once or twice a week. And I was at a poker game, and there, one of his friends had invited one of his boys, and he was an executive for Republic National, which is a wine and spirits distributor. Talking shit back and forth with him, blah, 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 you know. And he's like, hey, man, like, what do you do for a living, you know? And I was like, oh, like, I work with Joe at Target. He's like, oh, that's cool. He's like, man, he's like, you have, like, charisma and all that shit, right? And so I was like, oh, yeah, like, you know, I was like, I talk a lot of shit, especially when I'm winning. So I was like, I was cooking this dude, bro. I was, like, taking all his money. And then he's like, yeah, man. He's like, have you heard of, like, liquor marketing and all this shit and blah, 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 you know? I was like, nah. So he starts telling me, like, what he did. And he was like, I've been in the industry for, like, 25 years. He's like, I just got back from Miami, and, like, we're, like, doing, like, trade marketing at Live and all this shit, you know? And, like, I was like, oh, that's cool, bro. Had no idea what Live was or anything.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, like, that's cool, bro, you know? Like, I was just acting like I knew what he was talking about. I was like, oh, okay, cool, bro. And so I went home that night and I looked it up. I looked up Republic National, and I was like, oh, okay, like, he wasn't full of shit. I was like, this is, like, it's an actual company, and, like, it's true. And so one of my friends that I followed on Instagram or whatever, because Instagram was just, like, barely starting to pop off. One of my friends that I followed on Instagram worked for Republic National, so I DM'd her. And she was like, yeah, like, you know, I work on the multicultural team, blah, blah, blah. She's like, we're actually hiring right now. I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, oh, that's cool or whatever. And then probably, like, about a month later or whatever, Joe was like, hey, man, he's like, I'm gonna be leaving Target. I got a new position at this new company. I'm gonna be the COO over there, all that good stuff. He's like, you can come work with me if you want, or you can stay here, whatever. And I was like, oh, man, like, I was like, I'm probably gonna pursue something else, you know. I was like, if you're leaving, and I kind of just took this job because I was like, I needed a job after college, so, you know,
Yeah.
it was one of those things. And so, yeah, man, I hit that dude back up, and I was like, hey, bro, like what's good, you know? I was like, I like looked y'all up. I saw that y'all were hiring or whatever. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, I'll put in a word for you to get an interview or whatever. Basically, I interviewed, I got hired, and then they gave me the Fort Worth territory, and it was like multicultural. So it was like my Spanish degree came into play because it was like 90% Mexican restaurants out there. So I was just like selling a bunch of like everything, like the entire portfolio. I'm talking about like wines, champagnes, mixers, like all the spirits, everything. And our biggest portfolios were like Jack Daniels, you know, and which is Brown-Forman. They own Jack Daniels, and Pernod Ricard, which they own like Chivas Regal and all of that stuff. Also, Bacardi was one of our big ones, and they own Grey Goose and Jameson and all of these big brands.
Yeah.
And so basically, like that was like an introduction into this industry, and they literally taught me the game like in 1 year. They taught me the game, like the entire game, man. Like basically the business side of it. But then I also learned on the other side, right? Like from like the venues and stuff, from like the club owners and like the restaurant owners and like the bartenders, like how much to pour and like how much not to pour, how to make a cocktail, like it's just everything. Like I was like on it. And that year, man, like I made a lot of money. I made a lot of money off of bonuses and stuff because my base pay was like super low.
Yeah.
It was like $35K a year, but I made almost triple that like in bonuses. Like my first year, so I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, and I'm doing this in the Fort Worth territory. I was like, man, like if they give me Dallas, like I'll fucking crush it. Yeah, I was like, I'll crush it. So after a year, we got a new manager, and then like, so the girl that was in Dallas got promoted to manager. So So I was like, hell yeah, this is my chance. I was like, I'm gonna get the Dallas territory. I'm gonna like crush it this year. They hired somebody else and they gave the new girl the Dallas territory. And then they wanted me to like basically help train her. And I was like, I'm not gonna give you all my connects and then like for you to make money off of it, like that's not fair. So by then, like I was already well connected in Dallas. Like I knew a lot of the accounts, a lot of the people, a lot of the owners, a lot of the promoters and stuff like that. And so like I reached out to a few people, like, hey man, like I'm looking to get in the promo game. But I was like, not just like oh, like you're gonna book a table for us and we're gonna give you $50 a table. Like nah, like I want percentage.
Yeah.
I want like, cause I know I knew what I would bring to the table, and literally, and so and a lot of them at the time they were like, bro, like you've never promoted in your life, like ever, blah blah blah, you know, like which I understand.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool, man. I was like, I get it. I was like, I just want you to know where I'm coming from. And the only one that was like, yeah, I'm down, bro. Like I'll give you a percentage was David, and at the time it was Prime Latino. And he did like Sisu Thursdays. He had a night at Kismet, I think. Yeah, it was Kismet at the time. And I was like, look, bro. I was like, we're gonna expand this shit. We're gonna do everything Latin, but like we're gonna expand it and we're gonna do like 4 or 5 nights a week. And like, well, I was like, wait, if we have to hire some people to help us promote, we'll do it. And that's exactly what we did, man. I kept my end of the deal. I was like, hey, like we're gonna expand this shit. And we did, man. Like, Sisu was probably, like, still our biggest night. But we had, like, a big Saturday night, too. And then our Wednesday nighttime mass were huge. So, like, we did expand, and we did ended up having 5 venues at one point. Like, we had a party from, like, Tuesday to Saturday. We had a party. And it was like at the time, and it was like there was like a Latin demographic. Now it's like Latin has gone mainstream, so like everybody's playing like Bad Bunny and all that shit. At the time though, it was like strictly Latin. And then that's when I met Miggy. Like met Miggy, we brought him on board too. Like, hey, come work with us, man. We need all the promoters we can get. We brought him to work with us. We brought a few other people to work with us, and then we started getting into. We started our biggest night, which was at Medusa on Fridays around the corner. Medusa
Right
Fridays,
downstairs, right?
Medusa Fridays were like huge. But when we first started, man, we were getting like 200 people in there, barely 200 or 300 people.
And that's a big venue.
And then like at our peak, man, we were like 1,200, 1,300 people in there, and it was like, all right. And then from there, man, we just expanded into like to concerts, man. Like we started like booking like concerts and stuff, and like we started helping Medusa like promote their concerts and stuff because they had a bigger budget. So it was always like an elevation thing, right? Like the next step, all right, cool. Like we got another venue, and like now we have this big monster venue that not only wants to work with us but like has our back financially. Like they can finance these things. And so, yeah, man, so we went from there. And it got to the point where, like, Republic National basically came up to me, and they're like, hey, like, we see that you're, like, promoting and stuff and doing all this stuff in Dallas. There's a conflict of interest there. So pick one, like, either us or them. And I was like, bye.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about it. I was making a lot more money promoting and stuff. I didn't really need them at the time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm out. And so, yeah, man, we strictly dove into promoting, and like we're like just doing like party, and like it was one of those things where it was like it's just constantly growing, and then and during that time I was working with other brands. Like I worked with Jack Daniels for a while. I worked with Patron for a while, with Chivas for a while, and then my mom passed. In 2016, and so like I took 5 months off. Like David understood because he was my business partner. Like, and like that's why I would never I'll never like talk bad about David or anything, man. Like he held me down. Like,
Yeah.
like he was like a true business partner. He was like, hey, I know what you're going through, bro. Don't worry about it. Like he's like you'll still get your cut and all of that.
That's a real one right there.
Yeah, bro, as real as they come. You know, because like we were like legit partners and stuff. He was still like giving me my share and all that stuff, even though I wasn't even doing anything. You know, like I really wasn't. I was just like I was in shambles. So it was one of those things, man, where I was like, all right, like I know like this is gonna be like my brother like forever. You know what I mean? Like he was like really held me down. During that time, the Team Hennessy program came to Dallas. And it was funny. It's funny, bro, because it was like a full circle moment, man. Like it was so and like now we're getting into the whole Hennessy thing, right? How it started and like how I got into it and all of that. So it came to Dallas and in like 2015, like late 2015, and the first person that they hired. And it's funny because David applied for it, and Jessica, and they were dating at the time. They both applied for it, and they were both finalists, and then they went with Jessica. Unfortunately, she didn't last that long. She probably lasted like 2 months.
Oh wow!
And because it was a brand new program, and it was a new market, and it was like didn't really know how I was gonna do. And so so like she didn't last that long. They replaced her. And then they hired Crisco Kid. So Crisco Kid was like my boy, man, and like
Radio guy, right?
Yeah, radio guy. And so he did Team Hennessy Latino. Of course, we were probably like the hottest like Latin promoters at the time, like straight up Latin. Is what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of other hot promoters too but I'm just saying like as far as like Latin stuff went, like we were those guys. And so he would do a lot of his parties with us. Like he would do a lot of his parties with us because that's basically what it entailed, right? It's marketing and promotions of Hennessy. And so he did a lot of his parties with us. And like it got to the point where it was just like, all right, cool, like man, like what you got? Like, hey, we want to do something for Cinco de Mayo. Okay, cool. Like you know, we did like this massive Cinco de Mayo party with him and like Frankie J, and it was like a nighttime pool party, and then it was like a concert too. It was like
it was a good time.
It was a good time, man. Like we really like kind of like showed like what it was that we could do, and then like from there it was just like I kind of went on that hiatus because like my mom passed and all that stuff, and then in like August. Crisco hits me up and he's like, hey man, like, he's like, I got my own radio show in Phoenix. Like, I'm gonna be leaving. He's like, do you want me to throw your name in the hat for Hennessy? He's like, you've been in the liquor business, like, you kind of, and he's like, we worked together before, like, you kind of know how it would go. And he's like, I think you'd be perfect for it. So shout out to Crisco, man, because he's the one that put me on. He threw my name in the hat, man, and then obviously, like my resume spoke for itself. Like I have a really strong resume, and all of that good stuff. But I remember our initial call. Like he was sitting on that call, and he spoke very highly of me and stuff like that. And so shout out to Crisco, man. Appreciate you, bro, for putting me on. It's been a wild ride, man. But I did like 7 interviews. Then Hennessy, 7 interviews. My boss. Came down with like people from the brand team and stuff like from New York, and I had to show them. We took them to District. You were there that night.
Oh, okay.
Was he a good guy?
Yeah, he was good. Oh, like we're good now, bro. It was just like first name basis and everything.
Doorman.
He didn't even. I was like, they're with me, man. He didn't check their ID or nothing. So shout out to Ray, man, because he took care of us that night. But no, yeah, man. I had to take him for like a happy hour spot, and then like dinner or whatever, and then we went to District, and I was a little nervous, man, because they left District early. We got to District like around 11:45, and then they left by like an hour in.
Yeah.
They left like around 1. And I was like, damn, did I mess this up? Like, what did I do? You know, because like,
I remember.
You know,
you're
Ben,
nervous.
yeah, Ben and everybody like were like they laid out the red carpet for me, man. Like they gave us the best table. The DJ was like shouting us out, all that good stuff. Like everybody was coming up to the table saying what's up, because that's what they want. You know, they want somebody that's well known in the city that like can like put on for this brand or whatever. And so like they left early, man, and I was like, oh man, I was like maybe I fucked it up, you know. Yeah. And before they left though, we like they had ordered some more bottles. I was like, well, at least we got some free bottles out of it, whatever, you know. And nah, man, they like so they were. It was their first time in Dallas, so they wanted to check out other spots and stuff. And so like that's why they left early. My boss told me later on that's why they left. Dad left early, but she's like, no, we knew we were gonna hire you like the moment like we met with you, like we knew we were gonna hire you. She's like, that's why we came all the way down to meet you and all that stuff. Yeah, and so. Yeah, man. After that, like they offered me the job and I took it, and then like I hit the ground running. And this was
Now we see the pictures right here. You know.
yeah, this was like 6 years ago, man. And like yeah, it's been 6 years now, man. And it's been like just a lot of growth. You know what I mean? Like to really like represent like such a global, luxurious, cultural brand, because it's a cultural brand.
It is.
It's been amazing, man. It's been a wild ride, and now like we've been just in the last 5 years, man. Like in the last like, cause that first year, like I like really took it as far as like, all right, like we're gonna like, I'm just gonna like learn about this thing and see what we can do with it, and then man, like after that, we just hit the ground running, and we've been able to do some really really cool stuff. And it's just taken a life of its own now, man. It's like, it's really cool. It's really cool to look back on it and like see what we've been able to do.
Man, a bunch of amazing events, like NBA games, Canelo fights, so many things. I feel like, man, they're really doing, having a great time doing it too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is like a lot of people like don't know the work that he has to put behind those. Like there's a lot of people that think that he just shows up and just parties and stuff like that. But the planning and stuff like that, the stress that he goes through, I have to help him out on a couple of them. He's hired me for a couple of them to shoot video and footage, and there's a lot. There's a lot. It's stressful for him. Like the way that he has to work it and plan it, I would be tired of it after first 6 months. And he's been doing it how many years? You said
6.
6 years. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot of planning, man. It's funny because like I've been wanting to do like a lot more content as far as like behind the scenes, right? But then that entails like someone walking around with a camera and like really getting everything and and then there's just certain stuff too that like in the planning phases that you can't really expose until later, right? Like I'll give you an example for like the NBA deal. The NBA deal is like the first of its kind. We're the official spirit of the NBA. Not only the NBA, the WNBA, and then the U.S. Olympic team. That's a big massive deal, man. Like, so obviously Team Hennessy's in the loop of those things, right? But they're also like way above, you know, like those, like the executives are finalizing these deals and all that good stuff. And so like when people are like reach out to you, like, hey, I heard this is happening, I heard that is happening, like it's just kind of like I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Or same thing with Canelo, man. Like when he fought here last year, that was probably like the amount of stress that I had to plan and coordinate an event of that like
Magnitude.
Around an event of that magnitude. It was just not only was it like the highlight of my career so far, but it was just a lot of work, man. I can't even like fathom like how much work it was. It was insane. And I mean, I did it and I executed it and everything came out great. But like I kind of wish that I did have somebody like filming and like just seeing everything that I had to do, because it was massive. And then we had like all of these like hiccups and stuff and like last minute like adjustments, and it was just like, but like looking back on it now, like going through it, like this is my lifestyle. It's always been like that. Even when I was like a promoter, you know, like it was always one of those things too, like taking care of people's tables, like, hey, I got 5 tables that showed up at one time. Like, all right, well, let's get them seated. Like, waitress here. It's always something.
Yeah.
And so it's more of a lifestyle rather than a job. It's not really work when this is your life. You know what I mean? And that's really like how I take it. It's my lifestyle. This is like I said, what you see is what you get with me, and this is really what I do. This is my work, but it's also my lifestyle.
I know you're a very influential guy, so if you ever know anyone like, hey, yo, you need to talk to these people, just reach out, man. I'd love
sure.
to sit down with anyone. For me, it's all about us. It's quality content. A lot of people make content, they just put shit out there. Like, the hot girl gets out there and just talks about dumb shit. Like,
Yeah.
like we really want substance behind this stuff that we're
Absolutely,
doing.
man.
And we try to stay positive.
Try to stay positive and try to grow this. This thing has been growing organically.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people out there that buy followers and likes and shit like that. Nah, man, I'm trying
Take
to
a lot of shortcuts. And
I'm trying to do this.
That's the only way to do it, man. Like I posted something the other day and I was just like, I'm never worried about what I bring to the table because I am the table.
I am the table, man.
And so it's one of those things where like when you're true and organic to yourself, man, and like when you're doing something with good intentions and true authenticity, it's gonna take a life of its own.
Yeah.
And I think and the reason I always say that is because like I feel like that's my life. It's a testament to that. Like I've always tried to be like authentic, organic. Like I'm not shitting on nobody. I'm not like talking bad about nobody because for one, I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm worried about what I'm doing, and stuff like that. And like if we do cross paths and you're doing some cool shit and maybe I can help you out, like then cool, like let's do it. But for the most part, man, like you have to live your own true, authentic self. And once you do that, and don't apologize to nobody about it.
Yeah.
For one, because you don't owe nobody anything, and then vice versa, right? Like nobody owes you anything, and half the time people don't care what it is that you're doing either way. They just want to see something and talk about something. So, yeah, I think what you guys are doing is really dope, man. And that's why I finally decided I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go on my first podcast, which you guys are the first ones. I'm gonna make a little Dallas tour of all the other podcasts that have been inviting me out, man, and go share some more stuff with them too.
Man, we really appreciate that, man. I appreciate
sure.
that. Miggy, I appreciate you, rocking
absolutely.
with us again. That's my boy over there.
Yeah.
I love fucking shit Miggy be posting. Miggy be reckless and shit on social media, bro.
I try to keep things entertaining, man. At the end of the day, it's because now, I have to limit what I say, but I still make it a comical way. Because
I used to-
you gotta have people's attention.
Yeah.
I used to tell him that all the time, bro. I was like, stop posting stupid shit. I was like, stop posting stupid shit, like.
For the most part, I have.
Get serious? No.
I've toned it down.
But then, like, I actually stopped telling him anything because, again, I'm like, that's just who he is.
Yeah.
That's who he is. Like, I'm not gonna like tell somebody not to be who they are or whatever. So, eventually I stopped telling them, and I'm just like, and even then, like, I'll react to some of this shit because I'm like, okay, that was funny, but but like that, like I can't do that. Like sometimes I'll post like some goofy shit, but like, but for the most part, like that's just not me.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm doing some other shit. Like, he obviously has time to like go and he's on Twitter too. So it's like I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's that's a whole nother.
Yeah, I'm very selective on my platforms too, man. Like I'm.
You would hate Twitter.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, I would.
It would be more of a waste of time for you.
Yeah, like that's one thing that I hate is wasting time.
Yeah,
I hate that shit with a passion.
I feel that 100%.
Like I can waste my time. That's cool. It's my fucking time.
Yeah.
I hate wasting other people's time. So that's oh man, I hate that shit. Which brings me to my next point. So one of my goals that I set for this year too was to begin writing a book.
I was gonna ask you that question too.
Beat you to it. No, man. I set a goal at the beginning of this year to begin the process of writing a book, and so it's going pretty good. So like I said, man, I write. See, like I write all the time. I just write stuff and then like I save it. I'm just writing, right? And every night, like when I get some free time, I'm just like, all right, like where did I leave off? And I'll write some stuff, right? And so so I came up with like the concept of like what I want to write about, and it's all based on like just life, and it's relatable. I think, in my opinion, it's relatable. And then I also break down why it's relatable, or I want to break down why it's relatable. And I'm calling it the 3 certainties of life.
Hold on, make sure that's copyrighted. You got it copyrighted already?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's all you guys are getting.
Okay.
Because I'm still in the process of it. But yes, I am working on getting getting it like once I'm finished with it, obviously it's gonna be published, and then I'm gonna do like a whole fucking cool thing with it. But one of those things that the reason why I say I hate wasting time, because time is like it's you can't measure it.
Yeah. You can't get it back either.
But it's also a guarantee. Yeah. It's a guarantee. It's certain. Time is certain. Like whatever you decide to do in the next 30 seconds, like time is still gonna go.
Yeah.
Or whether it's the next 30 years, we might not even be here, but time is still gonna go.
Yeah, it's the same to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same to everybody, and everybody has
The same amount of time in each day. Yeah.
everybody has the same amount of time, but also different amounts of time.
Facts.
If that makes any sense. And so in my book, I want to dive deep into that, you know, like we get 3 certainties in life, and one of them is time, the other one is death,
Yeah.
and then the third one is emotions.
Dang.
So the emotions part is in between.
I need to copy this book when it comes out.
Yeah, so
I
it's
want the-
so yeah, it get like it's gonna get really deep, man, because those are all contingent upon each other.
And let me tell you something's crazy. While you were talking earlier, we were talking about, writing your diary. I was thinking, I was like, man, this guy should write a book. That's literally what I was thinking.
I was thinking the same thing too.
I was like, this guy should write a book. And
Yeah, man,
yeah.
it's interesting, man, because like a lot of people have told me that too. You know, like I said, I'll just post like random stuff that like just pops in my head. Like I'll write it down, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna post this because I just feel like sharing it or whatever. And then a lot like so I remember I did like a. And I hate being on camera too. Like I hate like the whole like selfie thing, like talking to the camera. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I look weird or whatever. But I did like this whole thing where cause I take my dog for walks and stuff all the time, and so like every now and then like I'll hop on there and like while I'm walking my dog and like I'll talk about some shit. And I was like, yeah, like I plan on writing a book. I was like, I don't know what that process looks like, or I don't know how long it's gonna take or whatever. But I was like, I want to do it. And I got a lot of positive feedback from people. They're like, yeah, you should do it. Like, I'll definitely read it. Like, oh, I want a signed copy or whatever, like all this different stuff. And I was just like, so that just gave me like that extra little boost. I'm like, all right, like I need to do this. So that's something that I do want to do. I didn't set a timetable for it because, again, I don't know the process, but like I am looking into it. And I've already started like the writing process, at least bits and pieces of it. But I also have a premise on what I want to write about. And so like that, I think that's important.
Yeah.
It's a starting point. And so yeah, so be on the lookout for that. I'll make sure to make some announcements on that, and also give an update
Okay.
on what that's looking like.
So, real quick, what do you want people to take away from this interview today?
Man, just like authenticity, man. Like it doesn't get any more simplistic than that. Like just be yourself. Like, a lot of times we beat ourselves down because we're feeling a certain type of way, or like we're not where we want to be in life, or someone hurts us, or there's a global pandemic going on, or whatever the case may be. Be just like take time to be in that moment, and like really be your authentic self in that moment. And then everything else takes care of itself. Like, I truly do believe that we always end up where we're supposed to be. Like, that's really something that I truly do believe in. And as long as you're organic and true to yourself, like, and you realize that you're going to make mistakes, but those mistakes don't define you. Like if you get another day and you wake up and you're able to do and feel what you want, then there's hope for you to like make up for those mistakes and stuff like that too. So, and that's all part of being authentic.
Yeah.
Like really take those feelings in and like those emotions, and do the inner work. Do the inner work. If you do the inner work, it's gonna shine outward, and like that's really what it really comes down to, man. Your growth is your growth, and you have to let people grow at their own pace.
Yeah.
and that also allows you to grow at your own pace too. So yeah, just be authentic, man. Be authentic. Feel everything. And you know, like there's different ways to like deal with certain things too. You know, so it is men's health awareness month, if I'm not mistaken. So to my guys out there, if you're listening, take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. If you need help, reach out to somebody. Talk about it. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
I reach out to my friends all the time. And I actually just told him, I'm like, so shout out to my friends, man, because I actually just told him, I was like, yeah, you know what, like, I'm not okay, man. Like, I'm not good, or what, like, I'm feeling like this, or whatever, you know. So, yeah, if you do take something from that, like I said, get some help, be authentic, be yourself. Everything's gonna be okay. You always end up where you're supposed to be.
I think it's okay to not be okay. You know.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing is from the beginning, I always recommend just keep open into that, accepting that it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from there, then you can share.
Anything else you got for us, Miggy?
No, piggybacking off of what he said about, you know, what we could take back from this is just a lot of people, because of the industry and you know, industry life, you know, it's all about being flashy and all this and that, to where I've been told, and I've defended him for this, about saying that Rome's flashy, and it goes back to his authenticity. It's like it's not, he's not being flashy. He's showing what he's doing. You know, it's not a cover up. It's not like he's posted up in front of a Bentley or a Ferrari, and of that sort. When he makes it rain, it's his money.
Yeah.
So it's his life. He's doing he's posting what he's doing. You know, if he's out in New York, if he's out in Paris when he has to go to his corporate, he's out in Paris. It's the life that he's living. And some people take it to where he's just making himself seem better than it. No, that's all him. It's all
Yeah, man. I get
genuine,
like some crazy stuff, bro. Like I get like people like that come up to me. They're like, "Hey, man, are you a rapper?" Or like, "Hey, man, like, are you a drug dealer?" Like, you know where I can score some? I'm like, bro, if you don't get your dumb ass out of my face. Like, yeah, I get a bunch of weird stuff, man. And then like people are like they'll DM me and like, "Hey, I heard this and that about you," and I'm like, "Oh, well, tell me more. Tell me more about what I don't know about myself, apparently, because it's just a bunch of weird stuff, man. But that's just like really like, and also like on social media, man. Like now that you're like touching base on social media, like I post what I want y'all to see.
Yeah.
Like worry about what I don't post, because what I show y'all is like my page is public. Like you can literally go on there and just see it. You don't have to follow me or nothing. Like you'll see it though, and it's just one of those things where like what I post is like. It's just parts of my life, though. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of behind the scenes work that people don't see, and people are not supposed to see. That's why I'm very big on doing the inner work. Like, you have to work on yourself too. You know, like there's times where like where we do go out and it does get carried away, and then like people start seeing certain things about you, and then like you start acting out of character a little bit, and then you have to go home still at the end of the day. Yeah. You have to go home and look in that mirror. And when you look in that mirror, you better see your true self, and if you don't, then you're being delusional. So like that's the biggest thing too, man. Like social media is not real.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's just parts and pieces of someone's life. And when it comes to mine, like what you see is what I want to show you, and that's really me. Like it's really me. Like there's nothing flashy or nothing. I don't wear jewelry. I don't wear any jewelry. Like the jewelry that I wear is because Miggy's gifted it to me, literally.
Man,
like
awesome.
Gifted it to me, and you know, and I'm always, and I'm
this right here. Thank you, appreciate it.
yeah, and I'm contractually obligated to post him now,
Yep.
because he pays me.
Yep.
So and like the only thing that you'll always catch me wearing are my dog tags. That's something I'm very proud of. But
Even if it doesn't accent his jewelry well, it's a part of him. So that's why I can't tell him to.
I've been
not
having
wear
those dog tags since I was
Yeah,
18, man, and like,
yeah.
but it's one of those things like. People think that I wear them just because, like, I want to show off that I was, like, in the military, you know. Like, the real reason why I wear my dog tags is because it's a constant reminder of where I've been. And it's also a constant reminder of, like, where I'm going. And, like, if I can survive that, then I can survive anything. That's why I wear those things.
That's dope.
Yeah, and so that's really the real reason like why I wear my dog tags, and yeah, like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like you were in the military, okay, cool, like yeah, I was, but that's not the real reason why. Like it's just like one of those things. I put them on and I'm like, okay, like
It's just always a part of you, man.
yeah, exactly, it's a part of me. So
Okay. Rock,
yeah.
you got anything for me?
I'm gonna give a big shout out to one of my homeboys by the name of John Parker. You guys don't know him. I was out doing a bar spin at Greenlight Social, which is a fabulous place out there in Upper Elm. And John, so he's a guy that I've done security with. We were just catching up, and lately I've been in my mentals a little bit in regards to where I'm at in life at this moment, and he had some very great words for me. He quoted Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos, he kind of equated life to waves, and that surfers don't chase waves; they just stay ready for when a wave comes. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So it kind of hit me really hard because, like I said, this past couple of months I just been really, it's like I said, in my mentals. You know, we're all kind of sharing our life right now. So. And just where I'm at in life and stuff. So he just said, man, and it kind of hit me hard, and I've been thinking about it every single day. So I think maybe whoever's listening, take some of that advice, take that little quote right there and run with it, man. It just kind of helped me get through this week. So
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
that's cool. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add that one to the
Yeah, that's the little box
the
there.
arsenal. Yeah.
Again, thank you to both of you gentlemen for coming in and rocking with us, man. I really appreciate that. It's been really great conversations, just talking and learning, and just like wow, a lot of eye-popping moments. Like, oh wow, that really is pretty deep, man. And I hope you get that book finished and get that out there ASAP, because I think a lot of people can benefit from the things that you're saying. It's one thing, like I said, to see people on Instagram, but then you hear them talk, man. It's just it's
Yeah, man, and like that's the thing, man. Like I could talk for hours. Like
I'm gonna start the Big Rome show.
No,
I'm
you're
producing. I'm gonna write it. We're gonna start the Big Rome show. We have that coming out there. But man, yeah, thank you so much. Thanks our sponsors again: Extreme Travel, Elite Pro Power Washing, Anchor, Pandora. Thank you so much for sponsoring the Ray Race podcast. A couple things I want to say before we leave. 3 things you need to hear. 3 things you need to hear at all times. All right. First one is you're on the right path. Second one is you can get through this. And the third one is better days are coming, all right? And one of the things I like to wrap the show up with, it's a little mantra. You got to get your swag on. You got to feel yourself all right.
Yes, sir.
So tell yourself that I will boss up financially. I will boss up physically. I will boss up spiritually. I will boss up mentally. Invest in yourself.
Let's go.
It's your boy Ray.
Yeah, right.
We got Mickey co-hosting.
Yes, sir.
Big Rome in the building. Yo, we out.
Sure,
Hennessy,
appreciate
baby.
y'all. Thank y'all for having me, man.
Yeah, already.
Hey, get money all day, get money all